This is an SUV. It is something that is comfortable for driving the kids around, picking up groceries, commuting to work, looking cool in the carpool lane. You wouldn't expect something like this to have the name, I don't know, like Corvette, would you?
Make the ground shake.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I've got an interesting thing to talk about today, and it's something that I may have discovered a little trick in the marketing and branding that Chevy has put out in the past few days about the 2020 Corvette. And I'm not sure too many other people recognized it, but I think it's leading me to believe something big might be coming in the Corvette brand. You know, I have reason to believe that there may be a revival of the rumor of Corvette spinning off into its own brand. This isn't a new rumor. It's been something people have talked about for quite a few years, especially with the previous two generations of Corvette, as generally the sales of the Corvette have gone down over the past few generations. It's brought up some conversations about whether or not GM should make certain business decisions. Now, the C8 is a massive change in trajectory for the Corvette brand, and I think it actually might be the right time to bring this conversation back up. In fact, I actually believe that GM, Chevrolet, and the Corvette team have had this discussion lately, and I think the C8 in 2020 is an important part of this puzzle. There are two extremely important things that I noticed in the branding and the marketing information that was released during the 2020 C8 release. And those couple of things I'll touch on here in a minute. But first, let's talk about why would GM make this decision to create a sedan version of the Corvette or an SUV version of the Corvette. That seems to go against what the Corvette is. It seems to go against the Corvette being a 60-plus year legacy of sports car, of two seats and excitement of a sports car. So why would they do this now? Well, let's look at the business decision behind it. Corvette sales have slowed quite a bit over the past few generations. And it's not necessarily the Corvette's fault, it's just the fault of the general automotive industry and the way buyers have changed. People are no longer buying two-seater sports cars, they're buying SUVs and sedans and family vehicles and things like that. And you look at cars like the Camaro, there's now rumors saying that the Camaro is going to be discontinued again in a couple of years. The Camaro was discontinued a few years ago and then finally revived after about a 10-year hiatus. And now here we are again with the same conversation because maybe the Camaro is not a practical piece of the GM puzzle. But here's another point to the business decision, and that case is Lamborghini. Lamborghini is also a sports car brand. Lamborghini is now owned by the Volkswagen Group, and a couple of years ago Lamborghini decided, let's make something other than a sports car. So what did they do? They developed an SUV, a small SUV, but it's the Urus, the $200,000 luxury sport SUV in the Urus. Now, not too many people are buying these cars. Don't get me wrong. It's not like it's a $50,000 SUV that a lot of people can buy. It's still $200,000 plus. Not too many people are buying them. However, think about this. It is the cheapest Lamborghini you can buy. It is also the most versatile Lamborghini you can buy. It is the first Lamborghini that can truly be a family vehicle, can be a daily driver. So the Lamborghini can now be in more garages, and it's not just that weekend car that the Huracan and the Aventador and their other performance cars over the years are. So why am I bringing this up? Because it's a $200,000 SUV It's the cheapest SUV they have. It's probably the most profitable vehicle they make because, as some of you may know, it's more or less just a rebranded Audi Q8, which is like $80,000, and they want $200,000. So it's a very profitable car. And finally, if you look at the sales statistics, it has increased the sales for Lamborghini 51% in just its first year. 51% more cars sold under the Lamborghini brand in the first year, and that's at $200,000 each. This is a good business decision for GM. But the real question is not whether it's a business decision, but whether it is a culture decision. Will this negatively impact the Corvette brand? I think it will affect the Corvette brand negatively for this long. And then once all those fanboys get over the fact that the Corvette brand can't have a four-door car or something with a back seat or something that's an SUV, they'll realize, hey, these are pretty sweet cars. Hey, this four-door sedan is actually pretty awesome. Look at the Panamera. It's not the first time this model has been created, and next thing you know, now the Cayenne, the Macan, the Panamera, these cars that Porsche has created over the past couple of decades are now their biggest sellers, now their most profitable sellers. Guess what? That is also another Volkswagen brand. So, back to the two reasons why I think this is something that is happening right now, and why it is two things that I noticed during the Corvette presentation. Number one, in all the videos they've seen, some of the print they've shown, even in the initial presentation that the GM team made on the 18th, if you look at the way the name Corvette was displayed, in every way it's just the name Corvette. It now says Corvette by Chevrolet. It doesn't say Chevrolet Corvette, and it doesn't just say Corvette. It says Corvette by Chevrolet. They've never done that before. Corvette is very different than all other Chevy products, Camaros, trucks, everything else they do. It's all Chevy, it's all bow tie. Not the Corvette. The Corvette has its own brand. The Corvette has its own logo. The Corvette has its own emblem. Nowhere in my C6 Corvette will you see that bow tie, except for in a very small piece of one of the flags on the emblem. You can't really tell. Nowhere on the interior does it say Chevrolet, unless you're looking in maybe the owner's manual or the door sill information, something obscure like that. Nowhere else does it say Chevrolet. So why now? Why go to this revolutionary new design in the mid-engine and do that now? I don't know exactly why, but it's something different, and that may lead to what they want to do with the Corvette brand going forward. The second thing that I noticed is simply C8. Well, you may think that's nothing different, right? There was the C1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now 7 and 8. Well, the difference is that GM and Corvette and Chevrolet are actually using the word or phrase C8.
A mid-engine supercar. The C8 is everything Zora dreamed of.
When before it was just kind of this cult-like generational calling for each one of the generations. You know, if you had a 2014 Corvette, you called it a C7. But Chevy didn't call it a C7. They never coined the actual two letters or two characters C7. They just called it the 2014 Corvette, the Corvette Stingray. But in this case, they are actually referring to it as the C8. They're referring to it as the C8 during the presentation in a lot of their print and marketing and videos. They are actually using the term C8. Why is that important? Well, it may be nothing. It may just be the fact that they couldn't have got the trademark in the previous generations. But what I actually think it is them again actually identifying this car, this two-door mid-engine car, as the C8. Maybe 2 years from now, they'll come out with the S8, which is the sedan 8th generation Corvette. I don't know what they would call the SUV. I would like to say X8, but that's taken. Or maybe Z8, but that's taken too. I don't know. They'll come up with some other letter. Let's say it's the T8, even though that says truck. I don't know. Point is, I think that they will do something like that during the 8th generation of Corvette. Look at what Genesis has done with Hyundai. It was initially the Hyundai Genesis, and then it just became the Genesis as the brand. And then they had the G70, G80, and the models after that. I would not be surprised if somewhere very soon you might start hearing rumors where it's called the Corvette C8 or the Corvette C8 Stingray, something like that. And then maybe then they'll have the Corvette S8 Stingray, and then the Corvette T8 Stingray. We might see something like that. Now, the 16-year-old self of me would be kicking myself for saying this, but I'll be honest, I would love to see that. If they made a 4-door, it would probably be a front engine, 4-door Corvette. Similar performance, similar design, similar everything. I would buy one in a heartbeat. No questions asked, I would buy one. Imagine if they made a Corvette S8 Z06, 700 horsepower, twin turbo, black wing, and it's got 4 doors. And I can put my kids in the back, or I can take people to an appointment at work. How cool would that be? I know some purists will say, no, this is terrible, and feel free to blast me in the comments. But I actually think this could happen. Stealing a page from the Volkswagen Group. Look at Audi, look at Porsche, look at Lamborghini, and also look at Bentley. They came out with a cheaper sedan, cheaper coupe, and now an SUV, again, increasing sales by increasing their exposure to different markets. It is a great business decision for General Motors. I appreciate guys listening to maybe my crazy theory, or maybe this is actually something that might happen. I actually think it will happen sometime soon. I believe now is the right time as well. During this C8 generation, with this massive revolution in what the Corvette is, I think now is the right time to steal a page from the Volkswagen Group's book. Anyway, feel free to comment below. Agree with me, disagree with me, agree with me but don't like it, that you're agreeing with me, whatever it may be. But feel free to leave a comment, hit that like button, definitely subscribe. I'd like to do more content similar to this where I can talk about different things that are going on in the automotive industry. And right now there is nothing hotter than the 2020 C8 Corvette. Anyway, I will see you next time.